Welcome back, you guys. We are going to do a 20-minute Kinstretch routine that's going to focus on hip abduction and all those adductors in the hip. So to get started, we're going to do some hip CARs. And what we're going to do for the hip CARs is we're going to go onto our hands and knees, and I want you to grab a yoga block as well. So we're going to place the yoga block upright like this, and this is going to prevent us from cheating, because when we're in a quadruped position and we're doing our hip CAR, a lot of times people will lean over and even bend this elbow to cheat that limited range of motion of their hip. So if we place a block in this upright position and place our wrist and elbow right against it, if we get through a repetition where we're tight and we start leaning, that block's going to go over. So this is going to be a little reminder not to cheat. So we're going to have this placed on our left side, and our right leg is going to go through our hip CAR. So we're going to drive that knee forward, out to the side, up towards the ceiling, and down, and back up through that same circle motion that we just did. We're going to aim for 5 aside, and we really want to focus that every time we do CARs, we want to make sure we go slow, because the slower you go, the more information your brain will receive of what your environment is surrounding the hip joint. And that goes for every single joint that we do in Kinstretch. And for one more. Perfect. So we're going to do the same thing on the other side. We'll switch up and give a complete side view. So block, upright position, hand and elbow, and from here we're going through that hip circle. Breathing. And another thing I want you to think of is when you do hip CARs, that first repetition is kind of a tester to kind of see what the hip is feeling, what the sensations are, to kind of give you a gauge of how your hip is doing on that day. I always make this analogy where if I do my hip CARs first thing in the morning, my hip CARs feel like garbage, then maybe in my strength workout that day, I'm not going to go heavy on lunges or deadlifts or whatever it is, and maybe the next day it's going to feel a little bit better. So CARs almost becomes like a, self-assessment. And this should be the last one because I'm talking a lot. And good. All right, we're going to do one more hip thing just to get some motion through there. We're going to work primarily through internal and external rotation. So what we're going to do here is laying down. We'll have our left leg out straight, right leg at 90 degrees. I want you to think of keeping the knee and hip in line the whole time. What we're going to do is kind of window wipe between external rotation and then internal rotation. The key here is every time people do this, when they go into, say, external and they kind of get into their end range, what's going to happen is their hip flexor is going to try to help and cheat external rotation. Same goes for internal. People start doing this and they start bringing their knee towards their face. So what I want you to focus is think of a rod going from the top of your knee all the way to the hip, and it won't go this way or this way. All you can do is go through external and internal rotation. As we do this, you're going to push your hands into the ground, create some tension, and irradiate your entire body. So nice and slow. Let's go to external first. Drive, drive, drive. And switch. And switch. And switch. And switch. Keep pushing those hands down. And switch. Switch. And switch. And relax. Now we're going to go over to the other side. The other thing I want you to think about is when we go through external and internal, when you get into your end range, you're gonna try to drive as much as possible. I'm not just like flopping back and forth. Every time I rotate and I get to the end, I'm trying to squeeze as much as possible to get a little bit more, and then I go to the other side and do the same thing, okay? 3, 2, 1, let's go to external first. And internal. External. Internal. External. Internal. External. Last time internal. Drop, drop, drop. And relax. All right. Next thing we're gonna do a little bit of knee CARs, because what we're gonna get into is some knee flexion and extension with hip abduction. So what we're gonna focus on is our right side first. So what we're gonna do is take our right hand through the right leg, left hand holds the right hand. We're lifting that hip up to lock the hip out, and then you're gonna drive your entire foot towards your face. You wanna limit and create as much tension through this ankle joint to lock it out so we can work on knee tibial rotation. So we're gonna rotate to the right, rotate to the left, right and left. And you should see your tibial bone rotate and rotate. And then also your fibular head is also gonna move with that motion. Knees are super important when it comes to any lower body exercise. Breathe in. Couple more. And good. Perfect. Now we're going to switch over to the other side. So left knee. This right side, you can have it bent like this or you can have it straight. Whatever feels more comfortable, doesn't really matter, but I'm gonna go straight for this side. So my right arm's gonna go through, I'm gonna lift that hip up, hands clasped together, toes towards face to lock out that ankle joint, and I'm rotating left, rotating right, left, right, left, right. You can even hear my ankles cracking. This is the side that I have a lot of scar tissue on that ankle from previous injuries. And good. Perfect. So first base position we're going to get ourselves into is the butterfly stretch. So you're going to have your feet together just like this, and your knees are going to be out to the side. What I want you to focus on is getting some sort of a stretch on the inside of the legs. So you want to think of pushing down the knees here with the hands, or if you're someone that's super tight in this position and you feel like you're kind of here, I want you to focus on grabbing your hands and looping them around the shins and then using your forearms to drive them down. If you have a little bit more range, then I want you to use the hands to push down, or you can go forearms, whatever feels comfortable, as long as you get some sort of stretch here. We're gonna hold this for our 2 minutes. At the top of the 2 minutes, the PAILs contraction is gonna be your knees pushing against the forearms, hands, whatever you have. And we're gonna start at 10% effort, 30, 50, and then max effort. And then we're gonna slowly relax into that new range of motion that we just acquired, because we all know that we're kind of communicating to the nervous system to stop being like this. And then our rails contraction is going to be your knees trying to come off your forearms. So I'm not using my forearms, I'm trying to actively push my knees down to the ground. So a couple things in this position. If this feels uncomfortable, you can slide your feet forward a little bit more, and that makes it a little bit easier on the hips. Or if you don't feel it enough, you're gonna pull it a little bit closer. The other thing is I don't wanna see this. Everyone uses this position for the stretch, but in order to get deeper, if I try to extend my spine, and that's naturally gonna tilt my pelvis this way, almost kind of like arching my lower back, and then lean forward like if I'm doing a deadlift, I'm gonna feel a deeper sensation than just hearing like, oh yeah, I can get my head all the way down to my feet. Cool, but we're trying to get deeper into the hip capsule, right? So We're breathing, holding, and think of every exhale, you're trying to melt into the stretch. Keep deep breaths. Almost there. Another 20 seconds and we're going to start driving the knees up against the forearms. The forearms are going to fight it, but we're starting at 10% effort. All right. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Start pushing up. 10%. Now 30, 50. And max effort. Drive. Push in 3, 2, 1. Ease off. Couple breaths here. And when I tell you to go, you're going to drive your knees off the forearms, so the forearms are not helping. In 3, 2, 1. Start pushing them down. Push. Push. Drive in 3, 2, 1. Ease off. All right. So we're going to stay in this position and we're going to work some active range of liftoffs. And I did say that we're going to do hip abduction. There is going to be some hip flexion as well. So when I tell you to go, you're going to think of driving your right ankle up towards the ceiling as high as possible and back down. What I don't want to see is when you lift, this knee comes up and you end up looking like this. Because what's going to happen is your brain goes, oh, this is really challenging. Let me help you by using more hip flexor and caving this in. You almost want to think of doing this position, so a little bit more external rotation. So a couple options here. You can either stay upright and try to lift, or if it's too difficult, you can go hands behind and then lift this way. So find what works for you. 3, 2, 1, lift, and we are holding. And back down, and lift. And back down, and lift. Back down, let's go one more, lift. And back down. So we grab our little yoga block, we're gonna place it underneath the foot. And you want to have it at a height where when you did one rep, it was kind of near that, so it'd be really challenging to lift off. So we're kind of ending at its end range and training that end range. So 3, 2, 1, let's lift. And back down, lift. Back down, lift. Back down. Remember, every time you lift, don't lean back, try to push your chest further forward. And lift. And back down. All right, next thing. It's gonna be a little bit more challenging. I'm gonna tell you to lift, and then I'm also gonna tell you to extend your knee, and then I'll tell you to bend your knee and then come back down. So this is gonna work that knee extension that I was mentioning previously, and also hip abduction. Again, when you extend your knee, keep the knee where it is. Don't try to lift it higher. Don't try to lean back. Try to stay as upright as possible and keeping that knee where it is. So I tend to like to hold on to here as I go through, or the other options, you can actually hug this leg in to help you stay more upright. So I'm gonna try that option. So 3, 2, 1, we're gonna lift and we're gonna extend. We'll hold it there for a bit and bend. And back down, and lift, extend, and bend, back down. Let's go one more time, and lift, and extend, and bend, back down. I lied. Let's go one more time, and lift, and extend. And bend. What's up, everybody? You might have been noticing that my videos cut out right after 15 minutes, and that's on purpose because what I'm about to launch is my online Kinstretch platform, which is going to be a subscription service where there's a monthly fee and you get everything when it comes to Kinstretch, from 15-minute workouts to 20-minute, 30, 45, and a full hour. And every single week I'm going to be uploading more Kinstretch routines where it focuses on not only just one body part, 2, 3, or the entire body, and some really specific things if you injured your ankle, your toes, your neck, or anything like that. So I highly recommend, if you are interested in this subscription model service of online Kinstretch, leave a comment below and I'll add you to the list when this goes live. So I have a rough idea who's interested, and this should launch somewhere in spring of 2024. So keep your eyes and ears open to that. Till next time.